When I tell people that I'm blind and I have a YouTube channel, I usually get two questions: how and why. So, as many of you may know or may not know, I am a blind YouTuber. Now, when I say blind, a lot of people are going to think I see nothing, but you need to get that out of your head. Blindness is a spectrum. So you have people who are on the spectrum of not being able to see anything, black, just pure black, no light perception or anything. And then the opposite side of the spectrum is low vision. And that's where I'm hanging out at. If you see the name of my channel, you'll see my name is Laura Malvoyante. Malvoyante is not my real family name. Malvoyante is French for low vision or visually impaired. And a lot of people in the blind community in France, they will address you as non-voyant, so not seeing, or malvoyant, which means low vision or very visually impaired. And I am malvoyant. I identify as that. I identify as someone with low vision. Even though I'm blind, I still have some usable vision, and I'm able to optimize that vision to create a YouTube channel. I create all of my videos, everything surrounding my channel, whether it's the descriptions, the editing, the management of the comments, is all done by me, a blind individual. Now, some people may ask, how do you do that? Well, luckily, we live in quite a technological era that allows us to do things that people previously thought were impossible, and some people still do. Now, just because I'm blind doesn't mean I can't learn how to adapt my life, because I kind of have to adapt for everything anyway. People who are disabled and especially visually impaired have to adapt to a world that's not made for them, and editing and creating videos is no exception. Creating videos is a very visual way of communicating and sharing your ideas and thoughts with the world. And being visually impaired and blind makes it difficult, but it's definitely not impossible. There are a lot of blind creators out there, and I highly recommend checking them out and giving their content a look. Even if you're not blind or visually impaired, I'm sure you know somebody who does have a disability, or you may be disabled yourself, and you may realize that you can do more than you give yourself credit for. I know for myself, I was kind of hesitating on creating a channel. I didn't want to make my channel revolving around just being blind, because that's only one aspect of my life. Yes, it impacts all of my life, but it's not the only thing about me. I think my interest in technology, being digitally intentional, and I have so many other interests that I would like to share with the world. I would like to give the perspective of somebody who's blind, but I don't want to make it all of my content, if you know what I mean. Now, as far as how I create my videos, I primarily shoot with myself talking to a camera in a specific location. This makes it easier for me to edit and make the edits look a bit more clean. Of course, I add illustrative shots on top of it, or B-roll as they like to say, and this helps my videos look more entertaining and, of course, more illustrated in the ideas that I'm talking about. As far as editing itself goes, no matter which editing software I'm using, I'm going to be using keyboard shortcuts to make those cuts as I'm listening to what I'm saying. Most of my cues for my editing is done to auditory signals. When I'm repeating a phrase, I can cut it out, and I know exactly where I need to cut to make it sound good. Since I'm shooting in such a simple format, it usually looks okay when I'm cutting. There are some jump cuts here or there that I can't avoid, but it's worth trading off for being able to create the content that I like to create. I will never be creating super dynamic, multi-shot camera shots. It's just not possible. I'm running a channel by myself, being blind. I can only do so much, and I'm okay with that limitation because I'm putting it on myself. If I compare myself to other sighted YouTubers, of course I'm going to feel bad about it because I can't do the same things, but I have to remind myself I'm on my own journey, my own YouTube channel, and I'm doing things how I want to do it and how I can do it. Now, as far as managing the channel, this goes into managing comments, descriptions, managing a community. This is all done thanks to technology. I mean, nowadays there are screen readers, there are ways to zoom into the screen, magnify certain aspects, and even AI to a point. AI can help me distinguish or summarize certain text on pages, especially for specifications for phones. A lot of websites are not as accessible as they might wish to be, and I can't read them. I can't read it if it's a white background with black text. Even if I zoom in completely, my brain erases it. This is because I have a condition called ADOA. ADOA is a genetically inherited neuropathy, and this affects the eyes, of course, but can affect every system in the body. A lot of people with ADOA have what's called ADOA plus, and this could include certain conditions affecting organs in your body. For example, could affect your heart, your liver, and in my case, it affects my muscles, especially in my legs. I find it difficult to walk certain days. I have chronic pain on certain times, and it's difficult to manage, of course, being blind, but also when you're in pain, sitting in one place, editing, and being able to create content can be a challenge. But since I really enjoy it, I do make the time and not force myself, but I'm more motivated to do it even when I'm not feeling at my best. Now, ADOA is a rare condition, and this goes into the why aspect. I created this channel not only to share my journey in digital minimalism or being digitally intentional with how I use technology, whether it be the phone I'm using, the operating system on my computer, having nostalgia for older devices, and everything in between. I do want to be able to communicate and share awareness about ADOA. It is an extremely rare condition, and not many people have platforms to share about this condition because it is so rare. I am a YouTuber, and I don't think it's my responsibility, but I'm very happy to share my journey with ADOA and how I'm living with it, and help spread the awareness a bit more. I think the more people who know about it, who may also have the condition or are struggling with the condition, will be able to ask their doctors for help, or maybe lead them into a direction of knowing exactly what's going on. There is no cure for this condition as of today, but maybe in the future there will be treatments or ways we can edit the genes, for example. But in order to do that, of course, we have to spread awareness and get funding, and hopefully research will be done to find a cure. Now, with all that being said, that is the surface level of why I've created my channel. But I know for myself, I had to do some deep thinking, and thanks to digital minimalism, having more time to think, my brain goes on these little tangents of, why am I exactly doing a YouTube channel? Why not do something else? Why not work for a company, make videos for them? Why do I want to make my own videos? Why do I want to share my own story? I'm not a narcissist, or at least I don't think I am. Maybe I am, but I don't know. I think you have to be at some point to be on YouTube. But it's not a narcissism thing. It's actually relating to my childhood. When I look back at my childhood, most people do, you have the good and the bad. And there is some bad in every childhood, I think, and difficulties and struggles to overcome. Obviously, I was born blind in one eye. My other eye has progressively gotten worse over time, and now it's at a point of legal blindness. But when I was a kid, I didn't really know I was disabled. My parents were divorced when I was quite young. We had a difficult childhood, of course, money-wise. Was living in a trailer park. My parents being divorced, my dad wasn't great with money, and he spent a lot of money buying a camcorder, and this was in the early 90s. So camcorders were quite new, super expensive, and he probably shouldn't have bought it at that time. I mean, we were really struggling. And honestly, I'm glad he did, because he was somebody who took that camcorder everywhere he went. He filmed all of my family members, not even on special occasions, any occasion. Anytime we came together or were just around a table, he would set the camera up on the other side of the room and just let people live their lives. And we have those moments to look back on. And it's something that I really didn't appreciate at the time. I loved being on camera as a kid. I was a super shy, still am a very shy person, but when it comes to the camera, something clicks and I'm more open. I can share things. I'm comfortable with the camera because I was always raised with the camera in my face. If YouTube had existed in the early 90s, my dad would have been a family vlogger, and that would have probably messed me up pretty bad. But luckily there was no YouTube, so my dad filmed and stored all of these tapes throughout my childhood and pretty much up to my teenage years. And unfortunately, my dad passed away 6 years ago due to addiction. And any of you living with someone in your family or yourselves, addiction can lead to very difficult situations, including my father's case, which was homelessness at some points in his life or very questionable living conditions. But even when he had absolutely nothing, living out of his car, homeless, he kept hold of those tapes. He always had those tapes. They were his most precious thing in his life. They were everything. They were all the memories of us growing up. And after he passed away, I know his biggest wish was for me to convert those tapes into digital format, which I did straight away after he had passed as his last dying wish. And I'm really glad I have those digital copies. I was able to give them to my brother, of course, and we both have copies of our childhoods essentially, and those memories of family members who are no longer with us. And being able to have those memories and being able to share that with my son who never met his grandfather, that's priceless. Those memories, being able to explain people and show them in their environment, living their lives, it gives a bit more perspective, and it gives the opportunity, rather than just pictures which aren't moving, to give a story to somebody's life and give more dimension. And I think when I decided to create this YouTube channel, I also wanted to have that as a memory, not only for myself or be able to share my journey with other people, but also create a sort of time capsule of where I'm at in that point in my life. Now I'm at the point where I can still see enough to be able to edit my videos, but maybe in the future I won't be able to do that and I will have to outsource that particular task. I won't be happy about it because I truly love editing and I really love that aspect of creating and having a bit of creative direction on my channel. But I have to be realistic. This is a progressive disease and I'm potentially going to be losing a lot of my usable site, if not most of it. So having this channel, being able to look back, share it with family, with friends, or even people on the internet, I'm really happy to create this place and this community to give perspective of why certain creators do the things they do. At a surface level, of course, we're all creating content for people to watch. Some of us are hoping to create careers out of it, and some of us are just doing what we can do at that moment in our lives. And I'm really happy to document what I'm doing, what I'm learning, and sharing everything on that aspect. Of course, I'm not going to share my entire life. I'm not going to share my family, my kids. That's not that kind of channel. It's a channel of somebody living their life from their perspective, whether that be a disability in my case, whether that be trying to get away from certain aspects of technology like doom scrolling and addiction as far as smartphone addiction is concerned, and trying to give people a different perspective or a similar perspective. Maybe you're going through something similar and being able to relate and see what someone else is going through and maybe inspire you to go on your own journeys. And that's really the global picture of why and how I've created this YouTube channel. I wanted to get a little bit more personal in the matter. Of course, it is 6 years ago, pretty much to the day since my father passed away. And I know he would really love to see where I'm at in this channel and this journey. And I think this would make him very proud, of course, but it also makes me very proud. And I think that's what's important, to do what makes you proud and what makes you happy, what makes you get up in the morning. Of course, I'm doing it for my son, I'm doing it for my family, but I'm also, more importantly, doing it for myself to show that I can do things that I want to do. My disability is limiting, of course, in certain aspects, but it doesn't give me the excuse not to do what I want to do and what I love to do. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.